Hey sis, my name is Malika Amarapa. Welcome to my channel. I help women and womb holders to bring awareness to their cycles, their monthly cycles, to step into the best version of themselves. I'm a transformation life coach. I do one-on-ones and group sessions. When it comes to I talk about a lot of things, honestly, but the foundation to really stepping into the fullness of who we are as pioneers, cycle breakers, and matriarchs for our bloodlines for the next 7 generations, as we are desiring something new for the next 7 generations. But ultimately, it starts with us to be the cycle breakers, to do something different, and to heal, and to make different decisions, and really figuring out what it looks like to heal trauma, mother wounds, father wounds, to do relationships differently, to utilize our divine feminine energy and masculine energy with balance. So what I wanted to talk about today was a really cool principle. No, not a principle, a cultural way of being that I heard about from a book that I read, multiple books actually, and I'll talk specifically about Lakota traditions, but then there's many others. There's many indigenous tribes in North America as well as all over the world. But I'll just tell you about this particular cultural tradition from North American indigenous folks, the Lakotas. So women honoring their cycles and utilizing that time to connect in with the earth and to connect in with themselves and to be utilized as an oracle for the family is indigenous technology. So stories that I've heard in a book that I've read was that women in the Lakota tradition the ones that were still bleeding, would leave the community and go to a set aside space to leave the kids with the grandmothers and the older aunties who weren't bleeding anymore, and the men and the uncles. And they would take the space, if you're all hanging out together and you're not wearing shoes, your cycles tend to align together with other women that you're around, right? So they would take those 4 days, 4 days, 5 days, to take space with each other in a lodge. And they would utilize this time to actually just have solitude and to not be on and to not be working and taking care of everybody and being in the hustle and bustle, to actually connecting with the earth, offer their moon blood to the earth, bleed freely without, having to feel like they had to go places and be worrying about, what's going to happen with, my blood coming. So just being able to bleed freely into the earth. And in addition to that, the community really looked forward to, respected, and honored the wisdom, the dreams, the channelings. Basically, their oracle gifts came out during their moon time. And so the community looked forward to them coming back. And, if you don't have Google and weather predictions and tornado warnings, had the oracles in the community, and they knew what was popping. They knew when the weather was going to shift. They knew when the earthquake was going to come. They knew when colonizers were coming to create death and destruction. They knew. There's a book that I keep reading it over and over. It's called The 13 Clan Grandmothers. And the indigenous community of those women, the woman who wrote the book, she was saying that her community left the southern United States, I had to look at the book to remember the exact tribe, but they got the intel in advance that Manifest Destiny was happening, the previous to the Trail of Tears. And so they like picked up their community well in advance and migrated down to Mexico, the mountains of Mexico. And so they were able to actually preserve their indigenous wisdom and teachings and traditions. Yeah, because they got the hell out of Dodge basically to preserve their way of life. So something that I'm desiring to start is doing a post Moontime Oracle reading, channeling to share with the community that resonates with my energy. And I want to encourage you too, as you know, a womb holder that's bleeding and bringing awareness to your cycles, to taking the space for yourself, whatever that looks like, even if it's in a small way, to go into meditation during your moon time, during your period, and listen to what's coming through, connecting with the earth. Take your shoes off, put your feet in the grass, go out into nature. Let that be a ritual that you hold for yourself monthly. It's a monthly alarm clock that comes off for you that you don't have to set. You just know that it's coming, and you have a time period to create space for yourself. Go into nature and listen and hear and see what's coming through for you and yours. Okay, whether that's just your immediate family or, you know, some collective that you're connected with. Okay, and that you have influence over and you feel guided to share with. That's your birthright. You don't have to go to psychic medium training. You don't. This is default. Your dreams are going to be intense. Now, I do want you to bring awareness to, you know, like decalcifying your pineal gland, though, taking it easy, you know, quitting fluoride altogether. Quit fluoride toothpaste, quit fluoridated water. Bring awareness to things that have fluoride in them, and you know, look up some guided meditations on how to activate your third eye, your pineal gland, to heighten your ability to tune in with the spiritual world. Okay, and your ability and your birthright as a multidimensional being living this earth experience. There's so much more. Once you start learning some things, then you'll start to understand there's so much more to this. Okay, so with that explanation out of the way, my desire is to be doing this every month for you guys, and I hope that it encourages you also to do the same for yourself, however that looks for you, however it resonates for yourself. Okay, but we got to start somewhere, because nobody was giving me this example. So let us be the ones to start the lifestyle, and then help others to see the value in it as well. So this last month, this last moon time for me, I felt intuitively guided to do a psilocybin ceremony. So I just don't take psilocybin recreationally. And yeah, I don't take any substances recreationally. I have before, but I've now understood how my body is set up and how I need to navigate it. It needs to be ceremonially and in a container based off of how multidimensional I am, and I just be like, I need a spiritual container that's protected, because I get really tapped in. So this last moon time, I did a psilocybin experience, and up until now, I had never had like a really unique, something really different kind of experience with psilocybin. It's always just been really chill. I'd be out in nature, and I would get like, I would just mostly feel like my brain synapses were healing and coming together. Like my inner mycelial network was starting to really come into like a symbiotic state with the rest of my body, and with my connection to the earth, right? So this experience really surprised me. Ooh, it surprised me so much. So once the psilocybin actually started to kick in, I started to feel like, oh, I just wanted to dance. I wanted to dance so bad. So I turned on some merengue music and I started dancing in this particular dress that I had on. It was like a really flowy, it was just like a sundress, really flowy bottom. And I was just like, oh, I was having a ball, like dancing. My dress was flowing. And I don't know, like some kind of merengue salsa type rhythm came from somewhere that I don't recall. I was tapping into gifts from another lifetime. So that experience happened and it caught me up guard. It felt good. I was going with it. I was flowing with it. And then once I felt like I was done dancing and I like wore myself out, I like sat on my bed with my journal and I like started channeling a message. And usually if I'm channeling something, I know that it's not coming from me if it's information that's like it's new or it sounds like it's somebody else's voice, right? And because I feel solid within myself and I feel solid with the sovereignty in my energetic field, and I'm doing psilocybin in a protected spiritual container that I set up for myself. I'm not just calling in random entities and stuff like that, right? So I'm moving forward without fear, right? Feeling really good, solid, stable, protected. And a voice comes through and was like, man, I miss dancing. I miss dancing so much. And I'm like, I know this is not me because like like I haven't been going to any dance classes. Although I did do some, I was on dance teams and stuff when I was in high school, but like it's been a while. So I guess that's valid. I do miss dancing. But I hadn't really tapped into it in the front of my mind. And honestly, I've been feeling a little blocked in terms of creativity and even dancing or just doing things creatively with my body, right? Or doing art, dancing, anything. I just been feeling like something is missing and I can't quite figure it out. And that was kind of my question before I went into the experience, okay? So she begins to talk, and while she's talking, I'm getting inside of my mind like a visual, and I see her dancing in a studio. And I asked her what her name was, and she said her name was Ama Sanchez. And she was like, I am you, and you had a lifetime in Costa Rica. My name is Ama Sanchez, and I'm a merengue teacher, and I love teaching so much. I love it. I love dancing. I love teaching other people. I love how it makes me feel. I love how empowered I feel. And I'm like, tell me more. Like, why are you reaching out to me? Why are you coming through right now? And she was like, well, I notice I'm coming through right now because I noticed that you feel blocked in your creativity and almost in some of these other areas of your life too, where you almost have this like unidentified fear around moving forward that feels like you don't even know where it's coming from. And I want you to know that that's me. And what it is when I was my most freest, liberated self, I met my man, and I loved him so much, and he loved me, and we were very passionate, and we loved each other, and we had a great relationship. The only thing is he was very controlling, he was very possessive, and he didn't like how free and liberated I was when I was a dancer, when I was teaching. He didn't like other people to touch me. He didn't want me dancing with other men. And when I loved him so much, so I allowed this behavior. I allowed this because it felt like love. And I allowed this, but at a certain point I realized that life wasn't worth living if I couldn't dance. So I told him that I was still going to dance and I was still going to teach. Ooh, you guys hear that thunder? Confirmation. And when she decided to go against his desires, he killed her. So while I'm listening to her story, I'm like in shock, like, oh shit, this is crazy. Like, he killed you? And she was like, yeah, he killed me. He did. And she was like, use my life as a testament to never settle. She was like, never let a man control you. Never let a man stop you from doing your deepest desires. And she wasn't necessarily talking to me as in like, break up, with your man. But she was saying, with this awareness, never allow another person to stop you from pursuing your deepest desires. Never. No matter how much you love them. Love is not love if another person is controlling you and oppressing you one way or another. I don't care if that's your mom or your dad, your siblings, your best friends, people in your community, a boss at your job, any individual. Never allow them to control you and stop you, because life is not worth living if you're in a prison, whether it's a physical prison and you're not allowed to hang around with your community, hang around with your friends, and you feel isolated, or if you feel like you need to pursue a particular lifestyle or a particular hobby that may be taboo or whatever it is. I don't know. Everybody's got their own thing going on. And she told me to relay this message. So I trust that this message will resonate with who it needs to resonate with. But this is the beacon call for you. This is the confirmation that you needed to hear. You have been toddling. You have been like, I'm not for sure if I should move forward. I'm not for sure. Maybe I'll hurt some feelings. Maybe I have to do a breakup. Maybe I have to separate from this community. Maybe I have to quit this job. What is it? You know. Whatever that is, this is the confirmation to go ahead and do it. That you are safe, that you are protected, that all the resources, people, places, spaces, and networking that you need to thrive, to move forward, to build your thing, to launch that new business, to start teaching that new thing, to build that new thing, to start doing your art, to start singing, to travel to where you need to go, even if you're not really for sure how you're going to pay for it. This is your beacon call. I hope this is helpful for you guys. And until next month with another oracle reading, Moontime Oracle reading. And again, don't forget that you are also an oracle woman, womb holder, every time you have a moon time. So explore what that looks like for you, for being an oracle for yourself and for those that you love. Okay? See you guys later.